Pixel, right? So I've had the Pixel 6 Pro. My SIM card has been, one of my SIM cards has been in it.
Yeah.
There's a lot to like about it. There's a few things that definitely need improvement. So in terms of my overall experience, I think it's been really good. Like it's nice to have a Google centric phone. I do like the fact that we've got Android 12 on there. The display's good overall. I mean, it's not as good as the S21 Ultra. It's not as good as the iPhone, in my opinion, when it comes to brightness and things like that. But you've got the 120 hertz refresh rate. It's smooth. I like it. The build and design is my favorite thing, I think. I like that it's unique. It looks different. That visor, it obviously makes for some great thumbnails, but it's just, I do like that we've got something that looks a lot more unique to things that we've not really had in the past couple of years, should we say. Like we had that sort of visor on the Nexus 6P, so it kind of gives me those vibes as well. So I'm liking the design as well. The cameras, we have to talk about the cameras, of course. Cameras have been really good, I would say, generally, right?
Generally.
You've got this Pixel look, very, it does have a processed look, and that's something some people like, some people don't like. I think they look pretty good in terms of the photos overall. But there's a few things with the cameras. The ultra-wide camera is just not wide enough.
No, it's not ultra-wide. It's the standard lens almost.
It's almost like, I mean, it's just not as like, when I was comparing it to the iPhone 13 Pro Max, it's just like, some areas in terms of detail and like dynamic range, the Pixel is better, but I still would pick the iPhone because it's just wider, and that's what I kind of want from an ultra-wide camera. So that's one of the things there. The telephoto camera is good, but all it's used for is zoom, right? So you've got the zoom there, which is cool, right? You get zoom, right? But then pretty much all the other competitors, like the iPhone 13 Pro Max, also use the telephoto camera for things like portraits.
Yeah.
And that's one area where I think the Pixel has been pretty terrible. It's like almost like a $200 phone, like just kind of drawing a blur around me. So that's one thing that I think, I was like surprised that. Now, it's Google and they will improve it with software. I know they always do, right? But I'm just surprised that this came out, the factory shooting such terrible portraits, because what it's doing is you've got 1x portraits, right? And then you've got 2x portraits. But you don't have a 2x camera on here. So what it's doing is it's actually using digital zoom, 2x, to give you a 2x portrait look. And firstly, that gives you very low quality. And then the Pixel sharpens up the image post massively, which is very obvious. So at small, it might look like, just, oh yeah, it's okay. But as soon as you look closer to the image, you're like, whoa, okay, that is not a sharp image. It's been post sharpened.
Yeah.
So there is a lot to improve, which will improve with software as well. But, a lot of people were expecting, oh yeah, Pixel's going to come in. It's going to be the best camera out there. That is definitely not the case. What would you say? Would you agree with me?
I have mixed feelings about the Pixel, because part of my long-term review involved traveling here to the UK and using the Pixel. So I'll start off with like the things I really like. The eSIM and using Google Fi, absolutely fantastic, because that's how I've been able to connect, get an Uber, call SAF since I've been here. Those are the kind of things that are really cool. The design, I initially liked it. As a gamer, I don't anymore, because I tend to use a lot of game controllers like the one from Razer. I just forgot the name right now.
Kishi,
thank you. The Kishi does not fit.
He's supposed to be the game.
I know, right?
He's supposed to be the game.
The Kishi does not fit. So I couldn't actually bring it with me, because I was actually thinking of adding some gameplay elements to my video, coming here. And I was like, there's a reason why the Kishi is done so well, because you can use it with that device, right?
Okay.
That's one thing. Then my biggest complaint is battery life. My battery life has been a mixed bag beyond belief.
Yeah.
I don't know whether it's, and we kind of talked about this earlier. It's LTE connectivity or it's 5G.
Yeah.
Or whatever modem they're using there is definitely not a Qualcomm one. I'm just going to put it out there.
So this is interesting because there was a lot of controversy online after Marquez did his review, and he said the battery life he's getting on the Pixel was not good, whereas myself and many others said that the battery life we're getting on our Pixels is actually pretty good. It's nowhere near the iPhone 13 Pro Max, don't get me wrong. I would say it's still under the S21 Ultra as well, but nevertheless, I still thought it was good. It still gets me through the day. I'm getting, I'd say, 5 to 6 hours of screen on time, which in my opinion is pretty good. However, what I noticed is if I'm on 5G, it drains the battery very quickly. So generally when I've been testing where I live in Leicester, yes, there's a few spots of 5G, but it's not, out and out like London. So generally when I'm, at home on Wi-Fi, when I'm going to the gym or whatever, I'm, just using my general 4G, LTE is fine, right? When I went to London, dude, I had to charge it on my way back, otherwise it would have been dead, right? And this is what I think. I think the way it manages 5G. Now we've seen a lot of these others, like iPhone, when it switches dynamically very quickly, and it only uses 5G when you need 5G. I don't know the specifics of what's happening in here, but whatever it is, it needs to be more efficient because it is. I've noticed personally when it's on 5G, it drains battery fast.
So I've been here in the UK. I don't have 5G connectivity with Google Fi. That's just something you usually have LTE whenever you travel, and it's not been good. I would just put it that way. I think I think you're right with the way the modem handles 5G connectivity reminds me of the very 5G chips that we had, where it was not on the same die; it was separate. But even then, at least Qualcomm did mention that you're going to have, because not at the same time, you're going to have a lot of just issues with that in terms of battery life. That's what I'm seeing here. So for me, it's not been an enjoyable experience with that. The other thing that I found quite interesting, which is very fixable, is the software lapses, where I'm using an app and it just closes.
Oh, yeah. So now, initially, I was like, look, okay, it's Android 12. It's the first device with Android 12.
Yeah.
There's a certain level of, just compromise that you have to have that. Look, it's new. You're going to have a few app crashes and things like that. But now this is available to customers. Customers can, have it in hand. And, I have so many app crashes. And what's funny is the app crashes I have are mostly on Google Apps. So when it's YouTube, like I'll have YouTube connected to my car and I'll be like just listening to something because that's, generally if it's like a longer video, I'll just have it and suddenly it will just close and just completely. And I'm like, what just happened? And there's no warning, nothing. The Creator Studio app, which again is a Google app, terrible. I can't even use it for more than 30 seconds because it will just crash out on me and just close. So there's a lot of work that needs to be done on the software experience. I like Android 12, but it kind of seems like it's not fully baked and they've just pushed it out. It needs some work because all of these app crashes should really not be there on a device that's available to public.
Yeah, no, like now I'm just going to actually just say this. I don't hate the Pixel 6 or 6 Pro because I've stated a lot of things that I don't like. I do like the device. I think like you said it, where everybody thought they were going to come in and just destroy, because that's kind of the impression they gave with the kind of marketing that they went with.
Yeah.
And my opinion is it's come in and it's sort of competing. I won't even say compete. I say sort of because there's just certain things that happen. And it's not a bad device. I mean, pricing is solid. I think a lot of this is fixable in terms of software, but there's certain things they have to look at moving forward with their devices next year. I think the Pixel 6 and 6 Pro is a good start. And a good start from all the failures they've had in the past, where they can now have a foothold and say, you know what, we're here, we control the chip, we control the software.
Yeah.
Now let's go ahead and craft the Pixel 7 or our next Pixel devices that really take advantage. And honestly, I think they should stop depending on software too much.
Yeah, they have a habit of doing that. And you mentioned the chip as well. What's your opinions on the chip, the Tensor chip?
Well, okay, the Tensor chip is built for Google in mind, maybe not all their customers in mind. So in terms of gaming, it will not compete against the Snapdragon or the
A13.
A14.
A14 by it.
A14 chipset. No, it's not going to compete in that avenue.
Yeah.
In terms of the AI processing, that's where really it's supposed to do well. And it's not something I know people have done benchmarks. It's not something that we can truly measure. I think it's just about how they use it for their own needs. I think that they should, fine. You don't need to go with high, megahertz count for gaming and stuff like that, as long as you can play the games well. What you need to do is work on your processing for photos, your LTE and 5G connection, because if you have a phone that cannot connect to do anything a phone does, it really doesn't matter at all. And
Yeah.
your battery life management has to really come to bear because
it's very inconsistent for a lot of people, as we're seeing.
Yeah.
All of the accounts that we're hearing, it's very different. The last point I want to touch on is video, because this was something else that Google really emphasized on, that they've really worked on getting that computational performance on video as well as on images, right? And yes, the video has improved, but it's no way like, I think a lot of people were like very hyped about it, that it's going to compete with the iPhone. It does not compete with the iPhone completely when it comes to video. The iPhone still, I would say, is king. You still don't have things like 4K 60. You only have it on the primary camera. Now, Samsung, they, actually caught up, and now they have 4K 60 across all of the cameras, right?
Mm-hmm.
With this, you've only got it on the primary camera. Now, that's fine, but then you're not really going to compete with the likes of the iPhone, which has that consistency across the board.
Yeah, and see, that's why I said it's almost there. It's that whole idea of like, you know what? I'll call it like the third best camera, because the Galaxy's video camera is really good.
Yeah.
The iPhone is almost magical. Again, you've got that censorship. That's a piece of hardware.
Yeah.
That is helping with your software, which is why I said Google should think about going, look, our software is good. We still need the hardware to complement some of these things.
That's the thing, because, one of the things I've always argued against is, a lot of people used to say before that the Pixel has the best camera. And that statement, in my opinion, has always been incorrect, because when you're talking about a camera, you're not just relying on the primary camera, right? You're looking at the camera package. You're looking at ultra-wide, you're looking at video, you're looking at telephoto.
Mm-hmm.
Now, when you combine all of these things, I would personally still pick, on the camera side of things, either the iPhone 13 Pro Max or the Samsung Galaxy S21 Ultra. I know we keep mentioning these, but these are the competitive devices that we do have to put it up against. What I will say, however, having said all of that, this is coming in at a lower price compared to those, right?
True, yeah.
So based on that, yes, it might have some shortcomings, but I still think it's a really good deal, and it does give you that Google experience. But the S21 Ultra has now started to drop in price as well, so you can kind of get it at a similar price point. So that's something else to keep in mind. But yeah, generally speaking, I'm still using the Pixel. I'm going to carry on using it for some time. I think it's a really good phone, and I think a lot of people will like it. It's not the be-all and end-all like a lot of people were hoping it would be, but it's a good foundation, and it's a good direction that Google is going in, I would say. I hope you enjoyed that clip. If you want to hear the full podcast episode, then that will be linked down below. And if you want to see more clips like this, then be sure to subscribe and hit that bell icon so you don't miss them. Thanks for watching. This is Saf on SuperSaf Speaks, and I'll see you next time.